Hello, welcome in. It's your boy Q City,
And it's your boy Taj Bravado.
and we here with the Birds of a Feather podcast. So we're about to get into last week's game against the Panthers. We're gonna look ahead to next week versus the Packers. Go to end division. We're gonna do some betting points on give me props and then city talk at the end. So come on with me and enjoy this ride. Usually I have a break right here, so that's about 4 minutes, 10 seconds. Um, And now we're gonna go ahead and get into week one. All right, so last week we had a win against Carolina. Man, was it good. Before I get into it, I gotta let the man go first. Tell me what you thought about the game, bro.
Um, should I start offense to defense? Which way you want to lean? You want to lean offense or defense?
Man, I have my own thoughts about the offense, but I mean like the defense, they stepped up. They came deep.
Okay, well, since it seems we both have positive things to say about the offense, I'm gonna go defense first. Then. So, I mean, rewind that. Since we both have positive things to say about defense, I'm gonna go offense first.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there we go. So,
Um,
offensively, I'm not disappointed, but I'm not thrilled either. Um,
um,
I don't have anything negative to say about Desmond Ritter, even though a lot of people are tending to have a negative opinion of him. So my thoughts from watching the game, just from watching it through and then seeing the all 22s, is the pass protection in the first half was horrible. Specifically, Caleb McGarry and surprisingly the $120 million guard we just signed. Um, they were both pretty bad at pass protection. Caleb McGarry was giving up instant pressures because people were saying that oh, you're not trying to find pits in XYZ, but it's kind of hard to find pits when you got a pass rusher right in your face when you say hike.
now I will say, and not to cut you off, this is truly just the back and forth nature of it. I will say I specifically thought they schemed up protections to cover McGarry in this game because he was having such a problem with Brian Burns moving on past the about midway in the second quarter
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
for the rest of the game. Yeah, I felt like they were instinctively rolling boots either right at him to allow Burns to go up the field and then pass him, or and Shaq Thompson was having a field day too whenever he was coming in the rush, and then their D tackle, I want to say 95, got in on it too. Um, but they were running boot actions toward that side to kind of like create double teams, and I felt whenever there was a back that wasn't out in protection, that wasn't out in the route, such as Algier being in, he was used as the chip in that situation. So I did feel like they recognized that like McGarry was being overpowered. But go ahead.
No, yeah, no, he was definitely being overpowered. And so when you get someone that's getting overworked like that, it affects the pass game. So like
Mm.
I do, but Arthur Smith said it himself. He wanted to pass the ball a little more, but sometimes circumstances change things. So he had to run the ball a little more and hit the quick game. I wish we could have got the quick game going a little bit more, but it took the offense a couple of drives, but once they got going, then things were okay. More specifically, like you were saying, like about midway through the second half.
Hmm. So my thoughts on it was there's no scoring in the first, and I really wanted us to start fast, right? If you remember my prediction, I figured the game would be 20-10. Obviously, it ended 24-10, so it was closer to your prediction of what was it, 27-14?
Yeah.
It's right around the middle. So,
Mm.
but either way, that it was a two-score win. It didn't feel as though it was a two-score win. It didn't feel as overly dominant as I had expected it to be with a rookie quarterback starting. So if you look at it, no fast start, no scoring at all in the first. Now we did strike first with Bijan having that touchdown, sick move, right? Was it
Chef's
was
kiss.
nasty.
Chef's
Oh
kiss.
yeah, 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 yeah. And like you said, he's special. He definitely did his thing there. But at that point, I think I remember texting you, bro. At that point, I think Ritter had like 56 yards and he had a touchdown. His pass rating was super high, but like over the game, he's 15 for 18 for I think like 118 or 115 or something.
Yeah,
His
115.
yards per attempt averaged out to like 6.3, bro. 6.38.
Which
Like every that is ridiculously low.
it is ridiculous, but when you break it down, he averaged more yards per attempt than Bryce Young did.
Oh yeah. Bryce put, but it made sense because I want to say Bryce had 38 attempts.
Yeah,
24 of those came when you were behind.
yeah.
24 of those attempts came from when you were behind. So like it obviously the game changed in your facet once you got behind. You got behind the sticks. You got behind like you had two interceptions like back to back to the same person. Like you're behind. You're gonna throw the ball. So like I did like the fact that we effectively took Chuba Hubbard and who was our other running back? Top of my head, forget him. Either way, took them
Oh,
effectively out of the
Miles
game.
Sanders.
Miles Sanders, that's who it was. Took both of them out of the game relatively early. I would say by the mid third quarter they were out, especially after the Miles Sanders fumble. Once,
Hmm.
but we getting into defense. That was the bright spot. Back to this offense. um,
Yeah.
so I obviously Hayden Hurst scored the touchdown. Right, we get the ball back. We go three. We don't go three and out. We got one first down. Then we had to punt. They get the
Hmm.
ball back, drive the length of the field, get stalled, kick a field goal. We come back, kick a field goal, right? That's when I had the really frustrating play call on 3rd and 7,
Oh
where it
yeah, where you
really
just
just
ran the ball.
you just ran it right in the middle, bro. Like, tell me you don't trust your quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Don't give me all this crap in the offseason about, oh, we want to expand the offense. We're going to play some big boy football. And then when it comes 3rd and 7, time to move the sticks on the plus side of the field, you run it up the gut
See,
to play for the top.
I'm not gonna put that on the quarterback there because I think it was more or less of an indictment on Ritter than he just didn't trust the pass rush, the blocking, because he didn't know if he was going to get enough time to be able to get just that 7 yards passing. Because it's
My thing
like,
is, bro, you can dirt it. You can dirt it. Even a holding, because it was a, let me look real quick. It was a 48-yard attempt, right? So you add 15, no, you add 17 yards from the back of the kick and the 10 in the end zone. So if you look at it from that point, you were at the 32-yard line, right? Koo can hit 50 in a dome. He
yeah,
can hit 50 in a dome, which means even if you were to have a holding call, redo the down, and then run it straight up the gut against a shell defense, because they're not going to pass rush, they're not going to blitz or anything in that situation, because it would be 3rd and 17. So
mhm.
like you could gain 6 or 7 yards running the ball. It would have been a relatively same field goal. It would have been relatively the same field goal.
I mean, yeah,
The fact that you didn't put the ball in Ritter's hands there showed me exactly more what you think about him, your offensive line protection, than anything you said to me in the offseason.
it's
I,
just,
I was absolutely disgusted on that drive,
I was
even though we
disgusted.
scored.
I mean, we scored. I was just more so. I think it's just a combination of two things. Because like one, Ritter is that was his fifth NFL start, so like he still is by all means what behind the ears when it comes to NFL play. So you have that, and I'm pretty sure you don't want to rattle him, especially when your right tackle is he couldn't block a phone call.
I feel it. My thing is, and I said it last week when we talked, bro. I felt like we were a far superior team than the Panthers. There are very few teams this year that I feel like we are talent wise over, and even few like I feel like we're maybe 6 or 7 teams definitively we're better than. Most teams that we're going to match up against, we are even on the talent perspective. And then like top tier teams, obviously, we're below. We're a mid to average team when it comes to talent wise, if you look at both sides of the ball, right? With
Hmm.
that being said, the teams that we're decidedly better than, we should dominate. In a two-score win, a two-touchdown win, looks like you're dominating. But if you watch that game, it felt like the Panthers were in it the whole way. And I don't feel like they should have stayed with us that long.
I mean, I'm going to give the Panthers because the thing is, even though the Panthers they're a young team, they're a very talented team. They're young, but defensively they have talent at every level. With the pass rush, you have Brian Burns, who's one of the premier guys. Then you have the nose tackle, who's one of the best run stoppers, and Derek Brown, who pretty much had his way with Chris Lindstrom. Then you move
Yeah,
into the
95, right?
yeah
95, he
95.
was
Yeah. He was
killing.
he was dogging Chris Lindstrom, so they're very
Yeah.
strong up front. And then you have linebackers in Luvu and then Shaq Thompson. Shaq Thompson is one of the better cover linebackers in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they have the talent, well, at least on paper, that looks okay compared to what we have.
You
So
know what I was surprised by? Super surprised by. So JC Horn went out
mhm,
and the backup corner came in,
yeah.
and it just reminded me like, yo, the Panthers do have like a complete bust at cornerback.
Oh, you talking about CJ
Witherspoon, bro.
Henderson?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
drafted him 8 overall,
No,
bro.
the Jaguars drafted him. They traded him to the
That's
Panthers.
who it was. That's
Yeah,
who it was. I was like, bro, they have a
I think they
complete
drafted
bust
him
at
at
quarterback.
9 because I think the Falcons were high on him, but luckily AJ Terrell fell to us.
And when I yeah, because I remember when they drafted Terrell, my only real scouting of him was getting toasted in the national championship game. So I was like, yo, who the hell did we draft? And now like you know, if you've been watching the show for a minute or hearing the show for a minute, you know that's all pro AJ right there.
Oh
You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like all pro AJ. Um no, so they were kind of thin in the secondary, and that's where I was upset. I love the fact coaching recognized immediately when Henderson was in the game, went at him twice and got the PI, but it ended up being a catch to Pitts. So like I love that part. When you go to the fourth quarter, one, you capitalize off turnovers for the whole point of the game. When you go to the fourth quarter, you ground and pound. Algier gets 2 touchdowns and like sets it far and away, unable for the Panthers to come back. I love how we close the game offensively.
yeah. Um, I love Algier was running like a man that's worried about his job. He's like Bijan, you here, but you ain't taking this
Nah,
because that man came out first run. I'm like, oh, okay,
it yeah. So and I want to say he ended with 72, 2 touchdowns. Bijan had about 75 to
yeah,
85 all-purpose yards.
yeah,
You definitely called that.
yeah. I think they both because Algier they both in. Algier had like 92 total with the 2 touchdowns. Bijan had about the 85 with the 1 touchdown.
Yeah,
Um,
and so that's the strength of the offense or whatever. But like now the crux of the offense, the crux of my issue. Drake London had 1 target, 0 receptions, 0 yards.
yeah, um,
He had 1 target. Kyle Pitts, 3 targets. What the fuck are we doing?
see, I'm not going to harp to because it's game one. You know, if you look at the landscape around the league, quarterbacks for the most part, nobody, very few did good. Even Joe Burrow, Mr. 275, he threw for 82 yards that game.
Joe Burrow gets the benefit. Joe Burrow has been to the Super Bowl and the AFC Championship game in back-to-back years. I'm not going to compare a third-round quarterback out of Cincinnati to a Heisman Trophy winning, highest offense ever scoring,
Okay,
number one draft
I,
pick
I,
overall.
I
Like it's
understand
no,
that, but I say that to say that it's week one. It's like everyone's rusty.
I,
The only
so here's
there was
so
like two
here's my
quarterbacks
thing.
that look good, Tua and Jordan Love. To me, by my from what I've seen, those are the quarterbacks that look the best in week one.
But I thought Justin Herbert had a pretty good game. I thought Lamar, even though they completely switched up the offense, he didn't look as great, but he had a pretty good game. Deshaun Watson, even with the pick, had a pretty good game. And like when I think of body type and play style, I think Ritter's ceiling is a poor man's Deshaun Watson.
I can see
And
that.
like I not seeing him, it baffled me because the best parts of him were completely taken away. No inseam piercing throws, no across the middle drag routes to London, no secondary throws, secondary layered throws to Pitts. And I'm like, bro, that's what he excelled at last year.
No, I understand that, but at the same time, you got to factor in that pass protection was an issue. So when you're having pass protection issues, that kind of takes away those throws. So
But here's my
that
thing.
mhm.
You were running the ball down their throats.
Yeah,
You were when it was 21-10. They put the ball in the air two times after that. I get it where it's like I want to play conservative, I want to conserve the lead, I want to, get my team in the best position. I completely understand all of that. You put the ball in the air two times, one was a drop, the other was a pass interference that ended up being a catch. What like other than that, and I call that ball in the air. He attempted more passes, but they were all at the line. They were all screens, like back screens to either a wide receiver or a running back, which are just like at the line
I
actions. I
mean,
don't consider that putting the ball in there.
I mean, it's not. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but it's just like you have to play to the strength of your team. And that day, the strength was not passing because you didn't have the time. Because Caleb McGarry is noted to struggle against more athletic pass rushers. So
He
that
has, he has, and that worries me as we continue to go forward into the season
yeah,
because
like
now Brian
because our
Burns is
next three
elite.
games,
Brian Burns is elite.
we're going against three elite pass rushers after this. Because you got Brian Burns week one, then you got Rashawn Gary week two, then you got Aiden Hutchinson week three, and then you got Josh Allen week four. It's not going to get any sweeter.
It's not. It's not. And you can't really continue to hide him without keeping Colin as a blocker, which eliminates him as a pass catcher.
No, I look at Arthur as a very capable schemer. I think he's going to figure it out. I'm not gonna be too harsh on him because it is week one. It,
And it could have just been a bad game.
yeah, because
I could give Caleb, it could just been a bad game. Now Chris Lindstrom, boy, my man was getting, bro, bent
yeah,
over a barrel. It was tough. It
yeah,
was tough for him. The day was long. The day was long.
yeah. Because
Derrick
I
Brown
seen the clip
took
of
his
Derrick
lunch
Brown
money
of
all day.
just him just chopping him and then throwing him like
Yeah, no, that one. I remember that play. That one was tough. Ritter stepped up and then he tried to do like this one-legged joint, and it didn't work out for anybody.
because Caleb got beat. I mean, because Chris got beat and then Caleb got beat too. So he was like, okay, dang, let me avoid Brian Burns and then here come Derrick. So it's the right side of the line did him no favors. I do expect them to clean that up because it was lack of pass protection, and then on the plays like it was a improv play. Ritter rolled out, found Pitts, lofted it up, let him upfield, got called back for holding, or no, not holding. Drake London wasn't set.
I remember that.
Yeah, it's just like penalty because
He
even
never got set. He
no,
went in motion to the right side and then never got set and immediately came back to the left.
yeah. So like
Yeah.
even when I go back to the there one preseason drives, there was literal penalties too. They got to clean that up because last year we were one of the least penalized teams in the league. This year,
And it's the only thing that kept us in games. It's the only thing that kept us in games.
yeah. So like I'm gonna need them to clean that up, clean the penalties up, and improve on the pass blocking. I believe Chris
Now,
Lindstrom is going to get better, but I need Caleb McGarry to really look himself in the mirror and man up.
now a bright spot for the offense, one that I thought would be a little bit more troublesome. Wide receiver two, Matt Collins looked very good
He
this
got
game.
strong hands, strong hands.
Strong hands. He was able to reel in some passes that were a little bit off target. That's another thing. Ritter's on target percentage was 18. Was 18. We're gonna delve into that deeper, but that's not now. Um, he was able to reel in some off target passes. The part that I loved him at, man is a dog in the run
Oh
game,
yeah,
bro.
no,
Man is a dog in the run
because
game.
when we had signed him, I had did my little deep dive as I do with most Falcon signings. I came to know that he was one of the top rated run blocking receivers in the league. So for one
And
fresh
like,
offense, a guy like that is a necessity.
yeah, he's never going to get off the field because
Mm-mm.
like it was Algiers run. He just obliterated the corner and then was looking toward the safety, but the safety ended up making the like shedding him and making the play as Algier went behind him and started to do like the serpentine thing. And I was just like, yo, that's a grown man right there. That's a grown man. So he looked good. I thought that would be a weak point, but overall, I would give the offense if I was grading this offensive game, I'd have to give it a C minus. You scored 24 points, so I'm grading hard, maybe a C plus.
I'm gonna give him just a solid C.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
it passed for week one, but we need to see improvement.
absolutely. Now, on to the good part of the game. This fucking defense, man.
Loved it.
This defense is legit.
And Jesse Bates showed he is well worth the money.
Oh, he worth every penny. He worth every penny and then some.
Yeah,
Like three
10.
turnovers on game one. I'm not gonna lie. I was holding my breath when he went out.
Oh
What was it, an
yeah,
ankle or a calf? Like
yeah,
man, I was crying on the inside. Like,
yeah. I was, but outside of him, I was. AJ played great.
now AJ played amazing. Somebody we talked about, and I'm not gonna lie, when I watched him, I immediately thought of you. 44, my
Troy
boy
Anderson, yeah,
Anderson. He is so improved in pass coverage.
yeah.
Now, I will say Bryce had a hard day. His ball placement, he was lower than Ritter. He was at like 16 for most of the game until the fourth quarter. They loosened up coverage and whatnot, and I think he ended up climbing up to like 40 something with on target throws. So like even with the two picks, it looks like he had a relatively decent game. But if you watch the game, you know he struggled a good bit of the
Oh yeah,
game,
because
and
he,
those passing lanes were not there when the game was close. And it used to be you could pick on Anderson. He had himself a sack, which I still think Russian is his best quality, but like he's much improved in pass
I
defense.
think he's just your utility linebacker. You use him however you need him. But he's athletic enough to do everything you need in the defense. He's athletic enough to keep up with the running backs, and he's big enough to rush the passer if you need him to in certain situations. I
So
was, I mean, Caden Ellis did fine, but I wish he would have did just he did his job, but I was expecting a little bit more.
mhm.
But I mean, I'm not disappointed. Um, Anumata did great.
Carter had a good game.
Carter, because like,
He was his role is drastically reduced though.
well, it's
Drastically reduced. He couldn't find his way on the field, but when he was on the field, he made an impact.
well, I think I'm not going to look at it as a reduced role, but I'm going to look at it too. If you have more depth, more guys you want to get on the field.
Hmm.
One guy that I'm surprised that didn't play more was Epic Kenny. Um, it seemed like he was on the field for mostly just third downs. I mean, I'm pretty sure he had more snaps than that, but it's like I kind of expected more snaps out of him. I'm sure it'll probably improve as the season goes along, but yeah,
What? But the fact that we're having this conversation, I don't think it's a conversation we've had in years about this team. It's the fact that like we actually have depth on defense.
oh yeah,
There are actually people who can rotate in, and Grady looks like a natural fit next to Calais. Like those two are like peas in a pod. They play off each other so well, and they get interior pressure quickly.
oh yeah.
Like it was very nice.
It was where Grady really flashed to me was on that fourth down stop. Because Carolina seemed like they were moving the ball pretty effortlessly. I'm just like, oh snap, it's the same old Falcons. And then they tightened up. And then from that point on, it was no looking back because they got that stop and the defense just turned it up after that.
I think being able to I think being able to rotate, keep bodies fresh, have depth at linebacker specifically when you're asking your big bodies to just be like run stoppers and double team eaters has has really been like an eye opener to see what this defense could really run into. Now, not to dim- not to diminish Jesse's performance.
Mm-hmm.
We're playing a rookie. Both of those interceptions were gifts. He stared them down, but he's holding down that back line. And like you said, AJ, no pat, one pass deflected, no catches allowed.
Yeah.
Monster game.
See, now, but see, this is us being Falcons fans for a while. Yes, it was a rookie quarterback, but it was nice for us to make a rookie quarterback actually look like a rookie quarterback.
Not gonna lie to you, my mind immediately went to Geno Smith's rookie year. I remember Falcons playing the Jets on Monday Night Football. It was Geno Smith's rookie year, and I was like, "Oh, this." It was like week 3 or 4, and I was like, "It's a rookie quarterback. We should be fine." He came in there and lit our ass up, bro. And since then, I have feared rookie quarterbacks playing this Falcons
Yeah,
defense because it seems as though anytime we play a rookie, they have a career day.
yeah,
We're the bright spot that gets those rookie quarterbacks another year. It's like, well, he had a good game against this Falcons defense.
yeah. That's definitely been the thing. So just them coming out this weekend and souring that narrative, loved it.
It was, and I can take it with a grain of salt, even though rookie quarterback, all this and that, week one. I think that I think we had a great game, and I'm really looking forward to the challenge of week 2.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it right there, and then when we get to 30 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead. All right, so now let's go ahead and look ahead to week 2. We are facing the Green Bay Packers coming fresh off a win against Chicago, 38-20. You look at that game, for most of the game, it was 38 to 13, or it's 38 to 10. They scored a field goal late and then a touchdown super late. So, 38-20 make that score a little bit more respectable. But Green Bay dominated. All 3 phases of this game, they
Mm.
beat the Bears down. Bears are one of those teams that I do think that we are talent wise better than. So I do think they're kind of bottom tier talent wise in the league. But if that's what an average, that's how I expect good to great talent team to act against a bad team. And I wouldn't say we're great talented, but I feel like we have pretty good talent. That score was much more indicative of what I thought Carolina's game would look like. They
Well,
beat the Bears now.
see, I never expected the Carolina game to look like that. But what I will say is that game in ways reminded me of our game because I feel like we are talent wise. I feel like we're pretty equal with the Packers, and I feel like the Bears are about on Carolina's level of talent.
Hmm.
So looking at that, I'm curious to see because it's two similar situations. You got relatively young quarterbacks that don't have a lot of playing experience. Um,
Now, see, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. I gotta like before you finish. I gotta push back on that piece right there, only because this is Jordan Love's 3rd year,
yeah, but
and like people can say like, oh, he ain't played much or whatever. He's had 2 starts, right, in 2 different years. But he's not only is this his 3rd year in the league, this is 3rd year in this system,
yeah,
right? So like, I don't care who you are. If you give me a book and you tell me this is the only book that you have to read for the next 3 years, understand the concepts, understand the ins and outs of it, and then and you have 3 years before you finally, or you have 2.5 years before you finally have to actualize what you're learning, you are way ahead, like miles ahead of most of the people that you're dealing with.
I mean, yeah, I would agree, but at the same
Like
time, it's
think about everything Justin Fields has accomplished, everything Wilson has accomplished. Love was in the same draft.
no Love only came out the year before.
Love was the year before.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's had a bunch of time.
I mean, he has had time. He has had time, but I mean, having the knowledge and execution are two different things, though.
I mean, I get it.
I mean, because
You know,
the Bears. I mean, I would say the Bears aren't even as talented on defense as Carolina was.
no, 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 no. Bears are. Bears are honestly going to be competing for that Caleb Williams sweepstakes. They look terrible.
Yeah, and
Like
I kind of feel like
there is not a highlight on defense. I can't think of two highlight players. On offense, you got Fields, you got Komet, you got Chase Claypool used to be good. I don't know who he is now. And
he had
DJ
one
Moore.
good
DJ
year.
Moore is a monster. Yeah. But DJ Moore is a monster. You know what I'm saying? But like, no. The Bears looked bad.
Yeah, Bears did
And I
look
think
rough.
that, yeah, and I think that like when you factor that in, you have to grade on a curve. Even grading on a curve, Loved looked good, man. He looked legit. Looked like he was in command of the offense. Um, when I look at what when I look at LaFleur and his coaching style, it looks like he is much more. He's close to Shanahan in the sense that zone run scheme wants to pound the ball, play action, always on the line action or in the middle of the field action.
Mm.
Not really anything to the outside. That's fine. But what I've noticed with him that I don't necessarily see with Kyle as much because Kyle is extremely scheme based is that Shanahan or not Shanahan, LaFleur is more so Jimmy and Joe's than X's and O's. Like he really relies on the talent of his players to pick up where he may not have schemed the best. And you really got to see Justin Love's talent shine through with a lot of his touch passes, with a lot of his like back progressions. Like the play he threw the fade on, that was a beautiful touch pass. But if you look, I think it was two plays before that, he had a rollout where first progression was locked down. He reloaded to get to the deep shot, stopped, and then hit the intermediate throw. Now, granted, that's a lot of time. The Bears lack a lot of pass rush. But like just watching that was like, yo, he has full command of this offense
Oh
and
yeah,
the talent to go execute.
I feel like I feel like our defense will cause more problems than they will cause more problems than Chicago did. Um, because we're better in the back end. The back end is no comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Up front, no comparison. Linebackers, that's a wash. But I do feel that we are equipped to handle this Packers offense because I mean you have Jordan Love and then the running back
Aaron Jones is going to
Aaron,
be
yeah,
out.
he's hurt.
He's going to be
He
out with the
hamstring, yes.
yeah.
So you have the other guy.
Christian Watson might be playing though.
Christian Watson might be playing, but I'm not very worried about him. Um, yeah, he's a tall, fast guy, but his routes aren't anything. I don't see AJ Terrell having any problems with him, or even Akuda if Akuda's back. I expect Akuda to be back this week, but
Isn't it weird that like there's been no word on him coming back, like at all? There was no lead up to this game. He was listed out like I think it was Monday. He was listed out
yeah,
for the game on Sunday, and there's been no like radio silence on him playing on week two.
yeah. I think we'll have something tomorrow. Have a little more information and things to go off of tomorrow. So I'm interested to see what's to come.
Now, our defense was our bright spot in week one, and so I am interested to see how they will look against what is perceiving to be a high flying offense. But on the flip side, since our offense wasn't exactly what I was looking for in week one, I think about them going against this Joe Barry led defense, right? He is not a huge blitzer. His man concepts all have Jair Alexander at the center of them, shutting down like his side of the field. But if we struggle in pass protection again, uh, Ritter is not only going to get picked, they're going to have a sack field day because if we leave Pitts in or if we leave a running back in, they will treat Ritter just how they treated Fields with like leaving a spy. And since Ritter doesn't have the capability to escape in that regard, they're going to send that spy on a blitz and force him to make a middle of the field throw
Well, due to the
with
fact that
three dudes in the face.
see, due to the fact that of how we run the ball, they can't play it the same way. Because the Bears' run game is Justin Fields. Our run game is our run game.
Now that is true. That is
So
true.
like
I will give it to the
you
fact
you can't get
that
too careless like that because when you have an effective run game, it slows down pass rushes. Because even going back to the Carolina
something I get.
game, the second half, the pass rush didn't, even though they didn't throw the ball a whole lot. In the chances he did throw, he had more time because the run game was going. So I expect in Green Bay is a middle of the pack run defense. So I expect us to be able to run the ball very effectively, and it should open up the pass better because Rashawn, even though Rashawn Gary is an elite guy, he's on pitch count right now because he's coming back from an injury. I think he tore his ACL last year, so he's only playing
Hmm.
on third downs. So there's going to be opportunity to pass on the earlier downs that may not have been there last week.
Now, when it comes to how we're setting up our offensive sets, I will say the creative package that we talked about. Obviously, CP84 he ain't in there. You know what I'm saying? He's rehabbing. He's coming back. We're can't wait to see him. But like, so his role was kind of switched by Matt Collins. So if you think about it, Matt Collins, Pitts, London, Bijan, and Algier on the field at the same time. That combination was only ran for I think 8 plays.
Mm.
What the hell is going on there? Because that is your most skilled offensive set.
It is, but like it's a
But
chess match. You
if you're five up front can't hold, it doesn't matter how skilled that offensive
yeah,
set is.
just like the left side from the center and to the left, I didn't see many issues. Like the rookie Bergeron, he looks like he's legit. I mean, we'll see as the season goes on. He'll have a pretty good test with another pretty good D tackle in Kenny Clark. Um, um, um,
Lost it.
yeah, I did lose, but it's I don't know how this is going to look. I do think we're going to be able to move the ball effectively, though. But
Now, when you think about it, I think that offensively we are going to struggle this game. We're going to have to lean heavily on the defense. Very rarely do I pick the Falcons to lose, so I'm usually always going to say win in my score. But like this is a very tentative 22-25 win. So like, or no, I would say 24-20 Falcons, 24-20.
it just all depends on the improvement we can get from the O line this week. What was last? I mean, McGarry is a bad pass blocker, but is he going to at least be able to give you at least get in his way this time? If McGarry can get in the way, then we'll be able to pass better. If he's just a paperweight, then it will be a struggle. I think it just ultimately just depends on the protection, and I do expect there to be a lot more tips this week. I do expect him to give McGarry a lot more help this week to help the offense stay on track, and hopefully we can clean the penalties up.
All right. So if you look at it in division, Falcons obviously 1-0 will beat the Panthers. The Bucks went 1-0. They beat the Vikings 20-17. Baker looked pretty good. The Saints 1-0 beat the Titans 16-15, and obviously Panthers are at the bottom because they lost to us. What stuck out to you in the division this week?
Um, Probably the Bucks. Um, I feel like the Bucks are going to be a better team than everyone is giving them credit for.
Mm-hmm.
Just they all they love is Tom Brady. I mean, yeah, he's the goat, but it's still a talented team.
Yeah. And last year he was not the GOAT. Last
Yeah,
year he was a 42-year-old quarterback who was by every measurable standard middle of the road.
yeah,
And like, do I think Baker can be league average? Yeah.
yeah.
Would it be an improvement for him? Yes, but I think he can be league average.
Yeah, so I think the Bucks are probably going to be our competition for the division this year.
Hmm.
Um, the Saints, I'm still not sure on what I think of them.
I
Um,
think they played absolutely terrible. Um, so like I moved to Tennessee. I moved outside the Nashville area,
mm,
and so that was my local game. So I was watching that on the second screen or whatever, and it went longer than the Falcons game because we ran the ball. You know what I'm saying, all this and that, and like I watched the end of that game, and Derek Carr made the plays at the end of that game, but like first off, Tannehill is done. Tannehill shot. Tannehill's done. They need to go ahead and start transitioning to either Malik Willis, who has made massive strides,
mm.
or Will Levis. You know what I'm saying? Like either one of those, they need to go ahead and start looking toward the future. But with that being said, the Saints could not capitalize on any part of that game. Continuous three and outs. They had a good long drive at the end of the game, and then they iced it with a run, or they iced it with a screen.
Mm.
Either way, Carr for a good bit of that game looked pathetic. I'm not gonna lie to you. So maybe that was like week one jitters, but no, I do not think the Saints are going to be this like just dominant force that's going to be a perpetual thorn in our side for the season. I actually feel really, really good about our division chances this year because
Oh
I
yeah,
think Carolina is going to be horrible, and I think the Bucks are the real competition there.
yeah. So we see it there. So we look at it probably a toss up between us and the Bucks for the division. I
Mhm.
think we have that. And I think the Saints are going to finish third, and Carolina's going to bring up the rear.
Now, when we look ahead to next week, obviously we face the Packers. The Bucks have the Bears at home, so I think they might win that one. And then the Saints and Panthers play each other. So I think it is absolutely critical that we win next week because we
Mhm.
could be looking up at two and 0 teams in the division.
I think the Panthers can beat the Saints.
Well, they're playing in Carolina. It's Bryce Young's first home game. I did like some things that I saw out of him.
Yeah.
I don't know if Derek Carr is usually cold weather that gets him. He plays pretty good in warm weather in domes.
Mhm.
So I don't see that being a factor that knocks him out. I just now he does like most quarterbacks doesn't like interior pressure. So if Derek Brown and Brian Burns can have the same game they had against us, yeah, yeah, no, it's gonna be a long day for him. But that to me is the only path of the Panthers' victory there. Would I love that? Absolutely. Two one-on-one teams, and it kind of takes the pressure off in case the Packers do get us. But I think the Bucks got the Bears. So like
Oh
one
yeah.
team in this division is going to be 2-0.
Hopefully too.
Hopefully two, but at least one team in this division is going to be 2-0.
Hmm.
I think one of the things that really surprised me in the Bucks game, um, I know the Vikings they're doing like this soft rebuild. They're trying to rebuild without actually saying that they're rebuilding. Like they quietly let go of like all their veterans. They have like buku loads of cap space, but they still paying Kirk Cousins a shit ton of money. Like it's weird because your timeline's off. I understand they drafted Kellen Mond like I want to say it was 3 years ago,
Mhm.
saying that like okay, Kirk ages out. We got like an heir apparent. They released him like his second year, so like okay, you're not it. They haven't drafted another quarterback since that's been able to stay on the roster, and you're about to give Justin Jefferson this huge contract. So you're not a team that's like on a great timeline or whatnot. So I understand that part. I think sneaky the Vikings might be like a team drafted in the top 10 this year. So
I can see
like
that.
the Bucks beating them wasn't the end of the world there, but I do think that they they dominated them in a way I didn't expect the Bucks to be able to put onto another team with Baker as their quarterback. And I'll even admit had pretty low expectations for him this year.
I mean, Baker is a quarterback, but the team still has pretty much all of the talent from the Super Bowl year.
Hmm.
So it's like that's still a very talented team. You still have a very talented receiver room with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and then the rookie Trey. Trey Palmer. The O line is still solid. The defense is still talented. A little older, but still very talented.
And actually, I think the Bucks are going to be in a really, really bad position in terms of cap wise because like they've been paying on a credit card for a minute, but Antoine Whitfield's due, uh, Tristan Wirfs is due. Who else? Mike Evans is looking for a new contract. I
Well,
think
I
that
don't think he's. I think he's out of there.
well, yeah, I think yeah. So you might be losing some talent. So I feel as though if the Falcons get the Bucks this year, it might be a full tank job next year.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Um,
If the
I think.
Panthers fall now, I look at it. If the Panthers fall to 0-2 in the division, I think I need them at like 4 out of 5 losses. So I need them at like 1-4 before we go ahead and count them out of the division race, and it'd be a 3-team race. But like I can't in my soul say I'm rooting for the Saints, but it wouldn't be the worst thing if they were to go ahead and win this week.
Um, I mean, I can see that. I don't want to see the Saints win them all. I think they're both. Um, I just don't think the Saints are as talented as everyone believes they are.
Which I agree with. Which I agree with. I don't think like, especially after watching that game. Now, granted, the Titans might have a top-notch defense, like with Jeffrey Simmons and uh who else? Harold Landry. Like it might be the best defense in the league, bro. It might, but they really put the clamps on the Saints.
Yeah.
All right, we'll end it there. 50. I'll do gimme props. All right, now it's time on to the betting portion. Give me props, give me props. I post my player prop bets on social media, usually because we drop this pod on Tuesday. It's going to be Wednesday this week, but the player props usually aren't out for the next week until Thursday. So come basketball season, when we drop the Hawks pod, I'll be putting the betting props on there as well. So 2 and 3 to start the year. I had Bijan to score a touchdown, cash that. Jonathan Mingo anytime touchdown. Nope. Drake London over 52.5 receiving yards. Absolutely not. Kyle Pitts over 37.5 receiving yards. No. And to throw a pick, Bryce Young cashed that. So I'm 2 and 3 to start the year. Um, what you think about my player props, bro?
Um. See, I'm new to the prop thing. Because
See, that's one thing I love about Tennessee, bro. It is a legalized gambling state. I had to be very picky with it when I was in Georgia about how I talk about it and whatnot. But over here, it's completely legal. You know what I'm saying? I can literally hop on any sports book from my phone. I'm not saying any sites until they start paying us. But
yeah. Oh
but
yeah, definitely. Yeah. um,
but no,
I'm definitely going to like whenever an opportunity presents itself, I would definitely get onto one of these sporting sites. And but I like the Bijan one.
the
Um,
Bijan anytime touchdown, that was like it had terrible odds, but like it's easy money because like you knew at some point in the game he was scoring a
yeah,
touchdown. The Jonathan Mingo one, it had like pretty bad odds, but I was like, I have my limits, so I put my limit on it, and I'm like, if I make it, cool. If I don't, that's fine. That was my shot in the air.
yeah.
But London over 52.5 and Pitts over 37.5 not cashing are crazy. That's crazy.
Pitts cleared.
Plus here 37.5.
Yeah,
Look at that, 3-2. Let's go.
Pitts had what 40 plus. I can't remember the exact number, but I know it was above
Was it
40.
44?
I think it might have been 44.
Look at that.
Yeah,
All right, so I'm 3-2.
yeah,
My best
let
don't
me
cash
pull
till
this up.
Tuesday, so I ain't looked at them yet. But I'm 3-2.
Let me be accurate, so I'm not telling you no lies. Yeah, Pitts had two catches for 44 yards.
Let's go. So I'm 3-2. 3-2 to start the season. London at 52.5 not cashing. I'm very curious to see what his line is going to be in this Packers game. Because whatever it is, I'm taking the over. I'm taking the over. because I
If
really think they're going to highlight him after having one target for 0 yards.
I want to say that, but then when you're dealing with a cornerback like Jair Alexander, that's tough to say. If he's falling,
That's if he grabbed his suitcase and he traveled.
yeah, I'm saying, and he's been known to do that.
He has, but he does that against who he considers top flight receivers. Talent wise, yes, Drake London has that respect. But
But
like actual
production,
production wise,
he ain't showed it yet. But
he hadn't showed that yet. So I could see if it being a Jair Alexander for defensive scheme purposes, I'm a right side of the field corner. I'm gonna stay on the right side today.
yeah,
Like you just line Matt Collins up over there and put a slot receiver over there so you give London one on the left side. Now, is that a harder throw for Ritter? Yes, absolutely. But it gives you one coverage. And you put toward the sideline actions or quick slant actions that don't actually go digs into the middle of the field so you can draw defenders. I can see him having a day. Even if he's like good in the first half and then Jair travels in the second.
I can see it. But I just my thought process with Jerry London, I think his breakout game is going to be week 3 versus Detroit. I
I
think
can see that.
I think
But I gotta see what the line is. Because if the line is like 38, 39, I gotta take that. I would
yeah,
feel bad if I didn't.
but I think this is going to be the Kyle Pitts game.
I mean, I've always said we need to control the middle of the field, and that's how you attack Joe Barry defenses.
Yeah,
So I'll see whatever line they're coming up with for Pitts. And then to throw a pick for Bryce Young, that was easy.
I,
Pretty much any time I play, I usually only do my player props on Falcons. Anytime we play a rookie quarterback or a turnover prone quarterback. So like Baker, anytime pick, I'm definitely doing that one.
mm, I like that one. Yeah, because Baker's going to turn the ball over.
At least once. At least one. Now it may be a fumble, you know what I'm saying? But hopefully it's a pick because I usually do the anytime picks. And I remember Ritter still hadn't thrown a pick. I put him down as anytime pick against the Ravens. He didn't cash for me and still hadn't. So I might stay away from him throwing an interception.
I'm going to be honest. I think this is the week.
Oh yeah, no, no, no. This might be the week, but I'm gonna stay away. He ain't burned me yet.
Yeah,
Ritter has actually not disappointed me at all because like I've been dead. I've never nailed a player more than like his point totals, his touchdown totals. Like man's made me a lot of money because like I look at him as decidedly below average, like right below average. He's a 69.8. Like we gonna round up because I don't want to see you in my class next year. You know what I'm saying? Like he is right there. And so like I've seen that quarterback 100 times, so I know how to bet him.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Not somebody like Josh Allen, like I don't know how to bet you. I don't know how to bet you because you may give me 400 yards, you may give me 40 yards. I don't know who you are.
Josh Allen is Jekyll and Hyde. He
Bruh, like that man is I, being a
because
Falcons fan is tough and it's hard on your blood pressure and whatever. But being a Josh Allen better is a high I don't need in my life. You understand me?
yeah, speaking about Josh Allen, that game that was a tough game to watch with the Aaron Rodgers injury.
I so here's my thing. You pushing us right into city talk, and we can just go ahead and roll right into it. You know what I'm saying? So city talk. The first thing I want to talk about was the A Rod Achilles injury, man. Like, bro, that shit was jarring. Like, because it didn't even look like it looked very innocuous. You know what I'm saying? It looked
Yeah,
like almost nothing. He stood back up and then immediately sat down. And like
yeah,
when I think of Achilles injuries, one, I'm usually thinking of basketball. When I think of Kobe turning the corner and immediately dropping to the ground. I think of Kevin
KD.
Durant,
Yeah,
like yeah, like bouncing the ball and then like immediately having to take a seat. When I think of an Achilles tear in football, the only one that comes to mind is a running back I'm seeing him in my face right now. But like he ran toward the sideline.
But Caleb
He like
Huntley
went.
first,
Was it Huntley?
because Huntley tore his last year first. Um, I remember what was it? Brent Grimes tore his first too.
I think that's who I'm thinking of. Where they ran toward the sideline and then they turned around and just immediately sat on the bench. Like they ran the ball. They were running out of bounds and then like limped up and immediately sat on the bench.
Yeah, no, that wasn't Caleb. That wasn't Caleb because Caleb had a weird one. He tore his Achilles, stayed in for one more play, and then went to the sideline.
Oh yeah, no. Oh my God. How did he stand?
I,
It was probably a partial tear. It's probably a partial tear. Because you can't stay, you can't stand.
I mean, yeah,
But no, so yeah, no, it was rough. Um, I was with Peyton. I thought we were just gonna tape it up and get because they were saying ankle. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But so how I knew it wasn't just ankle is when you watch the play, his ankle didn't turn at all.
Because they showed a different angle, and then as he's leaning forward, you could see the leg pop.
Yeah, like his ankle didn't turn at all. He turned and it looked like he thought he was going to break the tackle, keep his balance, and explode out of that.
Yeah,
And his body was gearing up for that, and then just like was like, "Nah, I'm good. We just go, we gonna chill right here." And like it was crazy. He stood up and then immediately was like, "Oh no, this ain't it."
yeah,
Like his hands was on his hips, and he was like, "Oh no, 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 no." It
yeah. Then he
reminded me.
just sat down, just so casual. I'm just like, dang, what's going on?
Yeah, no, no, no. It reminded me. It reminded me. You ever be out playing pickup hoops or whatever, right? And you be going hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you like twist the ankle, but you like, man, I'm just gonna tighten this shit up and keep playing. And so you pick yourself up and
You
you
just
walk
like,
like
oh
two
no.
steps, and then you be like, bro, I gotta
Just,
work tomorrow. Hold on.
like, hold on, man. Yeah, nah, let me go ahead and y'all got it.
yo, 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 we got 9. I don't care. I don't care. I don't
Yeah,
care. Y'all better find a 10. Somebody gonna play. I'm out.
yeah,
I'm out.
yeah. And Aaron Rodgers, he was, all right, I'm gonna fuck with y'all.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get at you. I'm gonna get at you, bro. Hit my line. Like he definitely,
Yeah.
but like I'm not gonna lie, man. Like I don't think he's gonna play again. I
Yeah,
don't think he's gonna play again.
I think that's because he's 39. He's gonna be 40 soon. Like 40 coming off an Achilles injury. That's
That's crazy work. That's crazy work. Like I think of Kobe. Kobe had his at 36,
yeah. I think what's our
and
age.
he was done after that. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't Kobe anymore after that. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Durant had his at 32. Obviously, you know what I'm saying, you could bounce back from that. He has pretty graciously. Um and then oh man, my dude in Baltimore tore his Achilles as well.
Oh, Dobbins.
Yeah, man. And Jacob,
He
I
can't
feel
catch
for
a
him,
break
bro.
because he's been hurt
He
like
can't sit,
3 out of 4 years. I
but
think this is fourth. He's been hurt 3 of them years at minimum.
and like I think he tore an Achilles in his left. And so the rehab process, running, coming back, you could have overcompensated and that strain the right. And but you know what this also made me think about? Aaron Rodgers had that calf injury in training camp,
Yep.
right? And
Same thing happened with
had to sit.
KD.
Same thing happened with Kate, and it made me think about Joe Burrow. Heavy about Joe
Oh,
Burrow, bro. And how much they might need to go ahead, even though he played game one. Because if you remember, Jamar Chase said, like, bro, I'll be fine not to see you till week 5.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if since he saw this and they could have been like, you know what? Yes, we played you week 1. We're sitting you week 2 and 3. Like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Eat the games right now. Try to compete. Do whatever you need to do. You can climb out of a 0 and 3 hole. It's hard, but they climbed out of 0 and 2 last year. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? You can climb out of a hole, but if Joe tears his Achilles, that's your whole season,
yeah.
and
It
most
is.
likely next season because he's already torn his ACL
Yeah,
in his rookie year.
yeah. So yeah. But I do believe it's on opposite legs, but it's still a lot to deal with.
No, but that's the thing. If you tear it on, say you tear it on your left, once you start playing, naturally your body's going to overcompensate because ACLs lead to degenerative knees, right? So as that cushion and compression starts to leave, um, you're going to start overcompensating on the other leg. His calf strain is in his right leg.
Yeah, I understand that because I've had to go through the ACL and LCL thing, and I definitely was overcompensating on my other leg.
You'll start to see it. You'll start developing muscle in that
Yeah,
leg, but these are fine-tuned athletes. These are fine-tuned machines, man, and like anything out of whack, your body like you got to think you're constantly using torque throwing the ball. Your mechanics, yeah, start at the ground, and that transfer goes up your body and then whips around through your arm. Like you throwing the ball causes strain on your feet. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? That's why they tell quarterbacks you got to stay off your feet after you throw 38, 40 times. Like, and he's not a runner, but he's mobile. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And so man, it made me think about Joe a lot, and just hoping that like
yeah,
there's no issue there with him long term.
yeah.
And I
Hopefully,
think this may lead teams to be much more careful with calf injuries
yeah,
or what's perceived to be calf injuries.
hopefully they can be more caution on the cautionary side with them just to make sure because don't really want that because they have high expectations. So injury of that magnitude would definitely set you back.
What you think they're gonna roll with? They're gonna roll with the bust.
Not sure.
I really don't see anybody out there they could get that would be a significant upgrade. But like, bro, Zach Wilson is whew, Zach Wilson's terrible.
Yeah, because I've been seeing things about them calling Carson Wentz. I done seen things about them calling Matt Ryan. Um,
Please don't drag that man out of the tomb and put him on the field again. That's borderline malfeasance. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
I wouldn't mind it because like that would be the best defense Matt Ryan's ever had.
no, 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 no. Bro, it was over last year.
Um,
It was over.
but but
It was
but
over in 2020, week 11 versus the Chargers when it was an out route to Calvin Ridley with I want to say it was 2 minutes left, and he threw it. He had the three-step drop. He was perfect. It was an out route. He threw it, and he didn't have the arm to make it, and the Chargers intercepted the ball. And I knew right then. I said it's over. And we kept him for 2 more years after that. And then the Colts gave him a year. It's over, bro. So he's awesome. It's over. It's over. You can't put him on the field no more. He gonna get
um,
hurt at this point. Like he gonna get like, bro. It was over last year. Remember they bitched him last year, and they were like he's hurt, but they were like, bro, regardless of the injury, my man's was getting benched.
yeah, I mean,
Like the Colts came out and said, regardless of the injury, this man is getting benched.
but the Colts was a shit show. Like because the O line because he was came there in the promises one of the best O lines he's ever had. This and the third, and the O line was horrible.
The Jets O line is horrible.
That is, I mean that is true.
Like
That
and
is
he ain't
true.
mobile. It ain't mobile. He ain't going nowhere. Like people talk about what kills me is the passes people get because like people talk about Herbert or like not reaching certain things or whatever. But like Wilson has had a terrible free outside of Elijah Vera Tucker, he's had a terrible line the whole time he's been there. The whole time he's been there. They drafted Mekhi Becton. He can't play.
Yeah.
Mekhi Becton cannot play, bro. Like,
Mm.
yeah, he's a bust. I like there are throws, there are mechanic stuff that he misses, but like, bro, he has not had support.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Even even with that being said, though, they probably shouldn't have won last night. Josh Allen completely gave that game away.
Which makes you think back to the Stephon Diggs thing, because Stephon Diggs definitely looked like he was not pleased with Josh Allen um, after the playoff loss last year.
I think that I can't fault Stephon because like Stephon's won everywhere he's been, passionate dude or whatever. I think that playing with somebody that struggles to consistently get you the ball after you've shown what you can do for him in his career can because like people only started viewing Josh Allen like Josh Allen when he got Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, that
And
is.
so like I could see Stephon having the like, bro, I made you mindset and now you're struggling to get me the ball. But I don't think he has a dog in the fight because he is the most targeted wide receiver
Yeah,
in the league. So like I understand his mindset, but like it doesn't match reality.
yeah. I mean
Like, do you
that's
think
fair.
you're just supposed to get the ball every single play? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean that is fair. That is very fair. Um, I mean, yeah, it doesn't match reality. But I think it's more so just his decision making.
I think his decision making drives everybody crazy. I think it drives everybody crazy.
Because it's like that decision making is the reason why I don't have him as a top three quarterback. He has the potential to be, but that
Oh
decision
man,
making is tough.
that and $2 will buy you a bag of chips. Like I think people fall in love with the idea or word potential so much because like I've been saying for years that two is better than Herbert,
Hmm.
right? And like I get so much hate and slander for that, but it's like, bro, they match up and they play. Tua wins. Who's been to the playoffs? Tua. Like people treat Herbert as though, and this is not to slander the man. You know what I'm saying? People treat Herbert as though he's won multiple MVPs or even has a playoff win. Like, bro, Trevor Lawrence has passed Justin Herbert in
Yeah,
my
yeah,
eyes already.
because he walked them down in the playoffs.
Just already.
He,
And what he's done for the team. His team was 1-7 at a point. They made it to the playoffs.
yeah,
His team was 1-7. They made it to the play. And like, but and it's not just like a Herbert thing. Like I get so frustrated with it when like you're not actually looking at what's happening. You just want to fall in love with talent. And like that's my thing with Justin Fields. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, Fields has all the tools, talent, potential in the world. He's not actualizing it at all. And he hadn't done it. He hadn't done it. So don't sit here and tell me about potential. Tell me how good he can be. Bro, what are you actually doing?
right.
What are you actually doing?
See,
You know what I'm saying?
and that just brings me down to the back to like Ritter. Okay, so Atlanta fans are talking about, oh, we need to bring in Trey Lance, and I'm just like, as much as Ritter has to do, Trey Lance is the worst version of Ritter. Sure, he
Way worse
has.
version. Way worse version. Yeah.
Sure, he has maybe a stronger arm, but that's about it.
No, Trey Lance doesn't see the field. He's not a natural runner. He actually that's a great point. He's a bad version of Ritter
Yeah,
because like Ritter is mobile, but he's not a runner. And Trey Lance was drafted like quote unquote as a runner, but like it's very much the same to where like he is not a high level athlete at the NFL level.
no,
He's got enough motion to move, but he has straight line speed. He has almost no pocket awareness and no pocket agility.
no,
That's why Purdy like beat him out by a mile. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't even close. And if you look at him, he's stiff. Now he got a cannon, he got an arm,
yeah,
but like, yeah, no, 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 no. And I'm not gonna lie, I was one of the people that was like, damn, we drafted Pitts, we could have got Fields, but like one of the knocks on Fields was that he doesn't see the field, and when you watch him play,
he
he
doesn't see
doesn't.
them. Yeah,
He does not see the field. Like he is so apt to take off. And it was kind of one of the things that like people thought about Lamar. But if you watch Lamar scans the field.
Yeah, he'll
You know what I'm
scan the
saying?
field, then run. Fields is the other way around. He's gonna be like, "Oh, first guy throw up, and I'm taking off."
Yeah, and that's why like for me when people like start ranking quarterbacks or whatever, and they have Lamar like 8 or 9, I'm like you're tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like Lamar, like when I think about like best quarterbacks in the league, like Pat is kind of like in a tier by itself. Joe, to me, in the past 2 years, has shown that he is quite squarely number two. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
really no like debate there. Then you got the old guys who fell off, which was like Brady and Rogers. You know what I'm saying? But they, damn, both of them basically gone this year. Um, then like the next tier slash group is like Lamar, Lawrence. Uh, I had Watson in there, but he had a bad year last year. But I had Watson in there, and then it's kind of that group, and then after that is when I got Herbert, Tua, and then kind of like a little further down, you get like the Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm.
No. Herbert and Tua in that same category, or I would say the category above is like Dak, and in the Herbert and Tua category is like Cousins. I consider them all pretty much the same quarterback. Herbert has more physical tools,
Yeah,
but in terms of production and team wins, like they're the exact same quarterback to me.
I can see that. I can see it. So I was actually having a conversation about the Tua and Herbert thing, and I feel like because people were saying, "Oh, Miami should have took Herbert," and you could probably argue that Herbert might be a better fit for Miami just due to the vertical weapons that you have, but its arm strength, and that Tua could be a better fit for the Chargers. Just from a weapon standpoint, I think Tua could probably bring the most out of those guys, and Herbert could probably bring the most out of them.
Now, I wouldn't say that would be the worst thing in the world, strictly because for somebody who has a big arm, the Chargers dink and dunk a lot.
Yeah,
And for somebody who has a quote unquote weak arm, the Dolphins throw the ball deep a lot.
yeah,
And so like I could see them flip flopping and thriving in those categories, but I do believe Herbert is a better talent than Tua. And with that said, that's kept Brandon Staley employed longer than he should have. Whereas Tua being in that position would have would have magnified that coach being incompetent much quicker,
yeah,
as it did with Brian Flores. You know what I'm saying? And not to say Brian Flores was completely incompetent in whole essence, but I think like as a coach for Tua, no, he did not fit the bill there. And you see with Mike McDaniel, you know what I'm
right.
saying? That like he's creative. He schemes to his strengths and whatnot. And like you didn't get that with Flores. And I don't think he would have got that with McDaniel. I don't think Herbert's getting it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Herbert's getting it. And that to me is keeping him from reaching his potential. But with that being said, what you're showing me is you're just like middle of the tier quarterback, bro. It's like when people put him in top five or whatever, I'm like, yo, what are y'all seeing, bro? Because like to me, y'all just like enamored by the talent instead of like what's actually happening.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that
and that's honestly what happens a lot. Because the talent potential thing, they fall in love with that instead of the actual production.
yeah, like if you look at it, NFC South, who's the most quote unquote talented quarterback in the division? Might be Bryce Young, honestly, the most talented,
Yeah,
but like he is going to finish last in this division.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Who is the most if you just say talented quarterback in the NFC East? It's probably Jalen. It's probably Jalen. That one doesn't really count. It's probably Jalen because I was gonna say Daniel Jones, but no, it's probably
No,
Jalen.
I mean
If
you
you look
got
at the
Dak over there
most,
too, though.
you got Dak. Dak's the best quarterback in that division. I think Dak is better than Jalen. You know what I'm saying? Like Jalen ranked as the number two quarterback last year was bananas. He had one good year, bro. Like it was an awesome year. It was an awesome
I
year.
mean, yeah, but
You
it's
got
his,
to
it's
do
his
it again.
third year. Like he's got better every year, so I think it's just the culmination of things.
No, no, no. I think the arrow is pointed up, but him being over Joe Burrow last year was bananas. In like that top 100 and most of these discussions, that's bananas, bro.
That's fair. That's fair.
Um, so but Jalen probably is the best, the most talented quarterback, but Dak is still a better quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Just by the fact that he's done it year over year over year. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing. I feel like people get to year 7, 8, and 9, and people just think like they're done growing, they're done getting better. You know what I'm saying? Look at Matt Ryan. Didn't he won his MVP in year 10 or year 9?
2016. Year eight.
Year 9, right?
Nine, eight or nine, one of the two.
Well, no, because he drafted in 2008, which means he played in 2008. So like year 9. So he
But
won it in
it was 2016 when we won though.
it's 2016, yeah,
Yeah,
but
so
2008,
that'll be
9,
year eight
10,
then.
11, 16. No, it's year 9, bro. You're not counting 2008, but you need to count 2008.
Eight will be the first year, right? So eight and then
Yeah,
eight more
so
years.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It's 9.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, I guess you can.
So, but regardless, we're splitting hairs and counting dicks. That's not the point. The point is, like, people think guys stop growing after year like 5, 6, 7. You know what I'm saying? If they haven't actualized their potential yet, there's no like hope for them or whatever. And it's like there's been multiple MVP winners, and I think Mahomes has kind of messed up the math on this situation. You know what I'm saying? With him being as good, as quick as he was. You know what I'm saying? But like prior to like one, more than quarterbacks won the award, but two, it was usually guys in years between 5 and 10. You know what I'm saying? Like guys continue to get better. You know what I'm saying? Year after
Yeah,
year after year, and I just think that we fall in love with potential early on, and if they don't actualize it, we kind of just like microwave society. We kind of just push these guys off, and so
yeah,
I think it's pretty easy to to fall in love with the potential and then cast it off.
yeah, yeah. It's very unforgiving.
Either way, I think that's a good show. We'll go ahead and wrap it. Appreciate y'all guys coming out, listening to us. This has been your boy Q City.
This time, bravado.
Hopefully, y'all come back and hear us again. We out.